This is part one of our command line lessons. And the command line is a very powerful tool that we can use to make our computer do a lot of things. And there's a bit of a learning curve to understand and to get comfortable with using the command line. And we're going to begin by doing something very simple and just navigating the file system on this computer. And normally on a Mac like this one, you would use the Finder to navigate the file system. And here, when I open up my Finder application, I have this icon right here. It says Mac, and it represents the actual hard drive on this computer. And so if I click on that, I see that at the very top level of this file system, I see these 5 folders or directories, as we will call them. And usually when we're navigating the file system, we're just interested in the files that we've created or downloaded or that we're working with. And those can be found in our home directories. And so I'm going to go to my home directory using this Finder application by going into the users directory, and I see all the users on this computer. Here are all their home directories, and then this one's mine, and it's named after my username, Cavagnolo J. And so when I go in there, I can see all of the folders that where I store all of my own files that I typically work with. Here's my AP Computer Science files, all the downloads, and so I can go into this folder and then I see these 2 documents that I've recently downloaded, 2 PDFs. And I can also go back in the file system. So there's 3 things about navigating the file system that we can do here with the Finder that we're going to also learn how to do with the command line today. First of all, I can see that whenever I'm navigating the file system, I'm in a particular directory. Right now I'm in my home directory. That's indicated here. So I know where I am, and I can use this little window here. The Finder application automatically lists the contents of my current directory, which is my home directory right now. And I can also change the directory that I'm in. And the way I do that with the Finder is I just click on, let's say, Downloads, and I can see the contents of that directory. And I can also go back, and so that I can navigate this file system by changing the directory that I'm currently in. So where am I in the file system? What's in that directory that I'm currently in? And how do I change into a different directory? Those are the 3 things that we want to focus on from the command line. So first, let's find the command line. On a Mac, you can search for this application. It's called Terminal. And the Terminal application gives us a command line and allows us to execute commands from there. I'm just going to drag my Terminal application, and you should do this too. Just drag it into the toolbar here so that you can access it whenever you want. And when I execute it or open this program, I get this little window, and it's just this text-based screen, and there's a prompt right here waiting for me to issue a command. And remember the 3 things that I'm trying to do. Over here, I want to know where I am in the file structure, in the file system. I want to know what's in that location that I'm currently in, and I want to be able to change into a different location and then back. So I can achieve those 3 things here in the command line. First of all, I use pwd to list the path of the working directory. And you can see when I first opened the terminal, it's /users/Cavagnolo J. That's my home directory. That's the directory that I'm in. Same as over here. I can use the list command, or ls, to list the contents of this directory that I'm currently in, the working directory. And this is the contents of this directory, and you see that it's identical to the list that appears over here in the Finder. And then finally, if I want to change into the downloads directory, I can just do cd downloads and hit enter. And now when I use the path of the working directory, I see that I'm actually in the downloads directory. That's my current working directory. And if I list the contents of that directory, I see those two files right here. The computer just tells me the stuff that's in that directory. So again, if I do that over here and I go into the downloads directory, the Finder application automatically lists those two files. So pwd to list the path of the working directory, ls to list the contents of the working directory, and then cd to change the directory that you're currently in. So there are a few more important things that we want to learn in this lesson. Like here, over in the Finder app, I have this back arrow, and it brings me back to the next level above where I was in. I was in the downloads directory, now I'm in my home directory. So I'd like to do that here. I'm currently in the downloads directory, and I can use the change directory command with this argument, ... And that represents the next level up. If I want to change to the directory above where I currently am, I just use cd ... and now I'm back in my home directory. There are the contents of my home directory, which should be familiar to you now. And I can keep going. I could change up to the next level and look at where I am. I'm in /users. I'm in the users directory. And if I list the contents of that directory, sure enough, here's the directories of all of the users on this computer. And I can even go up one more level. And if I do the path of the working directory now, I'm at the top level. So any more attempts to change to the next level up just leave me right where I am, because I'm already at the top level, the top directory of this file system. And I can do that here as well. If I go back to, there's users, and here's the top level directory of this file system. So when I do ls, I should see these 5 directories on the command line. And there they are: applications, library, network, system, users. But there's all these other things too. And this just sort of hints at some of the power of the command line. The Finder application is hiding things from us because they may not be relevant to the more basic users. But over here, the command line shows us all the stuff that's in this top level directory, even the stuff that is hidden by the Finder application. And we don't know what all this stuff is, but we'll get into that later. But here I am at the top level directory in the command line, and you can see the same stuff that you can see at the top level directory in the Finder application. So there are 2 other little bits that I wanted to share with you. One is, if I want to just go to my home directory, no matter where I am, I can just use the cd command without any arguments, and it automatically puts me back in my home directory. The other important thing that we want to learn about is called tab completes. And if I look at the contents of this directory, I want to change into the downloads directory. I don't want to have to type the entire word downloads. This gets really cumbersome to have to type out the entire name of a directory that you're trying to change into. So the command line has this great functionality called tab complete. And so if I just do cd space tab, my computer complains at me. But if I do it again, 2 tabs, it just shows me all the possible completions for this command, which are basically all the different things that are in this directory. Notice I can see all the same stuff that I can see over here, but I have these other things too that start with a ... Those are things that are hidden over here in Finder that we have access to more readily at the command line. So what I want to do, though, is I want to change into the downloads directory. So let me just type the letter D here. And so now when I hit CD space D and I do a tab, my computer complains. But if I do the second tab, it shows me the 3 possible completions: desktop, documents, and downloads. Well, I want to go to downloads. So if I just type the letter O and do a tab complete, then it complains again because the second tab shows me that there are 2 possible completions: documents or downloads. So what I really want is downloads, so I add the W, and then when I do tab, it automatically completes to downloads because that's the only possible completion that starts with DOW. And then I hit enter, and then here I am in the downloads directory. I can see what's in there, or I could, and then I can just change back to my home directory this way. So let me just fast forward that or put it all together. What I really want to do is I want to get into the downloads directory. Well, I can just do CD space tab, 2 tabs show me the possibilities, DOW, and a tab automatically completes the whole thing, and then I am here in the downloads directory. So it takes a little bit of time to learn and to become fluent in the command line, but the PWD, LS, and CD commands are a good start, and you'll also want to practice playing around with tab completes. Once those are under your fingers, you get quite fast at the command line.